Okay. Hi, we're live. Hey. Hi. For people who don't know me, my name is Lainey, and we are hosting a writing sprint and craft chat for BookNet Fest 2020. If you guys don't know what BookNet Fest is, it is a book community. It's usually physical. We usually go to Orlando, Florida every year, but because of COVID, it's virtual this year, and it's been kind of going over this entire month with virtual events. So I suggest you guys check out booknetfest.com. I didn't know if it was .net. booknetfest.com to check out more of their programming this month. And they also always incorporate writing, authors, and AuthorTube into their programming every year. So that's a great way, if you guys have never heard about it before, to go check it out. And hopefully next year we can all meet up in person. But yeah, I've gone to BookNet Fest for the past 3 years. Alexa has, as well as Lindsay and Lizelle. We were all on the AuthorTube panel last year. So yes, my name is Lainey, and I wanted to have my panelists introduce themselves and talk about what they're currently working on and who they are.
Okay, well, hi, I'm Lindsay. You can find me at the channel Lindsay Puckett, where I mainly work on middle grade novels. I'm a writer, and I do a lot of discussion-based videos. There's some blogs. I talk a lot about disability and writing and how that intersects. And yeah, that's my channel. That's where to find me. Oh, and today I'll be working on my spooky middle grade book.
Hi, I'm Laura. My channel is Laura Writes. I am currently working on a YA contemporary, which is mostly what I write, but I also am interested in speculative and urban fantasy YA as well, writing that someday in the future. On my channel, I currently chronicle my attempt to finish my contemporary so I can start querying it next year. So I do have blogs and discussions about that, as well as I've been on a journey this year to learn more about writing craft. So I've been doing a lot with that and like reviewing writing craft books and having writing craft discussions on my channel. And so today what I'm working on is I'm prepping for Preptober. So I'm getting my notes and stuff ready. I'm creating a plotting Bible based on all the craft books I've read this year to kind of help me with my rewrite for my contemporary. So that's what I'm going to be working on today.
Nice. I am Alexa Dunn. Oh, my echo just went off. Of course it did. I am a young adult fiction writer. My first 2 books were YA sci-fi romance retellings, and my next one is a YA thriller called The Ivies about competitive college admissions. My channel is Alexa Dunn, and I am working on my option material for my publisher. It is a Small Town Secrets YA thriller.
Yay. Hi, I'm Lizelle Sambry. I'm a young adult author, and my debut, Blood Like Magic, comes out in summer 2021 from Margaret K. McElderry. And I also have an AuthorTube channel where I talk about traditional publishing and my experiences with that. And today, I'm going to be working on the sequel for my debut, which is about a family of Black witches living in Toronto in the near future.
Hi, I'm Kevin from Kevin the Writer. I am an agented YA writer trying to become traditionally published. I primarily write young adult contemporary, but currently have been focusing on an urban fantasy, which I'm calling the Witch Book, which I'm actually expecting to receive the last round of edits from my agent in the next couple of days, maybe. So that'll be exciting. It should be on submission in the next month. And so today I'm going to be probably dabbling on like this new project idea that it's not really much to mention. It's like a fantasy, because I also am interested in writing just like high fantasy. So I might just dabble around in that today. Because I'm just like too afraid to jump into anything before I get my edits back, and Nano's so close. So it's hard to focus on anything.
Yeah, I realized I didn't really introduce myself. I guess I just assume everybody knows who I am because you're on my channel. But if you don't know, you just clicked on it because it's BookNet Fest. My name is Lainey. My channel name obviously is Ginger Reads Lainey, and I talk about writing. Mostly I do writing vlogs, and I also talk about how I'm obsessed with adult romances. The smuttier, the better. And today the panel is pretty much going to be talking about craft, and we're going to be doing writing sprints. So if you guys have any questions for us about craft related, publishing related, just drop them into the comments and I'll select them and we'll answer them. So let's do a question before we get into like a sprint, I guess.
I bought this mug for our live streams, by the way.
That's so you.
I mean, we could talk about the age-old debate of the platter versus pantser. And
it is a classic for a reason.
Yeah. And how we've evolved since we've all been on YouTube for a while. Have your guys' writing process changed at all since you've been sharing it online?
I sometimes get more work done because I know there are people expecting some kind of update. So like that's something that's changed for me. But like as far as planter and plotter, I mostly still plot. Like I was like 99%, but I do have a video coming out tomorrow where like I kind of dabble in pantsing because like it is an interesting idea to me. I'm just not good at it.
I would say I have evolved into, I'm working towards becoming a better plotter because I've learned from experience of this book that I've been working on forever that I did not plot it well enough, and not plotting is not working for me. So, but I will say that also being on AuthorTube has made me way more productive, which is why I've recently started doing weekend vlogs, because I would never do writing on the weekends. So I was like, well, if I do writing vlogs, then I have to do some writing on the weekend. So that has really helped me a lot get stuff done. So it definitely, but it has evolved. I used to be barely a plotter, and now I'm creating a plotting Bible so that I can make sure that I am plotting extra hard in the future to not make these same mistakes.
I'm kind of the same. I feel like I was always a plotter, and then I just got more plotty
Yeah.
as I spent more time on here. It has to do with craft books too. I think just reading them and seeing how they incorporate plotting. So I'm just now like hardcore plotter.
Yeah, I've noticed the first book I ever wrote, I've never read a craft book. So like the beat sheets, I never even knew existed, the first book that I wrote. But it was interesting to see, like, I mean, it's still a bad book. However, I did notice that I did like follow some kind of structure, because even if you don't know like the writing structure, all of us have seen movies and TV. So we know like the natural beats of storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'll be Team Pantser over here, I guess. That's part of my argument. Like, in Proof is in the Pudding, plenty of famous authors do it. It is possible to internalize structure and get it on the page without outlining. And my thing with AuthorTube is, because I've publicly said I'm a pantser, I feel like I have to ride or die for it. But at the same time, I technically plot more than I did a few years ago. But like, you can't, I do know people who do it. I'm like, this is where I compromise my principles. I can't write a thriller without a lot of planning. It's not outlining, because that would hurt my soul, but I do a lot of planning / plotting, because otherwise I can't get through it. I've always been a headlights writer. I just had fewer guideposts along the way earlier in my writing journey, which I think is pretty common. I'm really a plantser, if we're being honest, because like I have to have more guideposts for a thriller, and generally I have to plan my climax before I start, which really helps me work backwards. So
I actually have a question about that. Like, so isn't every pantser technically headlights writing? Because like as you're writing, don't things pop into your head? Isn't that headlights, or am I just misunderstanding what it is?
I think, well, yes, that's headlights writing, but I do headlights with a roadmap. Like, I'm going on a road trip across the United States, so I know I'm going to stop in like Colorado, whatever.
Okay.
But some pantsers, some pantsers don't even know they're going to Colorado, and that is not me.
So you get like some spots along the way.
I've always known where Colorado is. We're going to pretend that's the middle. But what's evolved for me is I know I'm going to California.
Yeah. I feel like that's like the plantser style, and that's definitely how I've been doing it pretty much this whole time, though I do feel like Lindsay and Laura, that I'm becoming more of a plotter when I used to be a plantser, because sometimes things are biting me in the butt. Like I wouldn't plan my world building, and then all of my edits would be trying to frantically fix my world building. And so now for like Nano and stuff, I'm like, I'm gonna plan my world building. I'm gonna answer every possible question someone could ask about this world ahead of time, and like put in all of my stuff into the plot, because it's just like the amount of revising I have to do to fix it because I didn't plan it is not worth to me just like the freedom of not planning it.
I know you keep trying to push me to do a calendar for my book. I'm just like, I can't do it.
I've been so saved by doing the calendar for my book, and it's a Google calendar, so I move stuff all the time. Like there are times when I'm like, actually I would rather this happened on a Sunday instead of like a weekday.
Oh, for continuity? Oh, actually, yes, Kevin, do that. Even I do that. And I still mess up.
Do it. I'm just like,
well, because it saves you with copy edits. It's actually the copy editor's job to do that. Now, even though I did it on my last book, I forgot what year I set it in, and it's now set in a different year because of when it sold. Because when I wrote it, I thought, no way this would be published before 2022. And so on copy edits, my copy editor was like, it's the wrong day of the week, right? And I had to move everything up by a day to make it 2020. That hurt.
See? And that stuff is painful when you don't even know where on the calendar the things are occurring.
Yeah. But your copy editor will literally be like, you said 5 pages ago it was a week, and now it's 3 days. What day of the week is it? And you'll be like,
yeah, it's wild.
On my last one, they nailed me. I messed up real bad.
So my current project is a fantasy, so I don't really have days of the week, I guess, but mine is structured around a bet. So my main character has 3 weeks to do X. So I recently, for when I was revising, had to like list out day 1, day 2, all the way for all 21 days, and like figure out what chapter went with like which day. I'm like, okay, so she does this on this day and this on this day. It helps so much because I felt like, because it is part of pacing and tension too, just to like make sure like all of that's the timeline is correct. It changed totally changed like how I was pacing the story when I put the days to the days.
Same. My middle grade that I'm querying right now is a 24-hour timeline. So it goes from 12 p.m. to 12 a.m. on like Halloween night, and it was intense. And you need to do that sometimes because you would get things mixed up, and it was like, mine is a countdown. It has kind of like the ticking time bomb, like something bad is going to happen at midnight if this doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So it was like every chapter header, I needed to put how many hours until midnight, how many minutes till midnight. And my CP was like, girl, you're messing this all up. It's 9 p.m. It's not 6 hours till midnight. So it is helpful. And I'm going to try that calendar next time, Lizelle. I think I will help.
I know a lot of people.
And weirdly, even when you set books in the future, sometimes dates just line up. I know like quite a bit in the future, and I did like a future calendar, and they were the exact same dates, exactly lined up as like this year. And I was like, cool.
So I want to have us do one more question before we sprint. And I felt like this one was really good. It was from Katie. How do you find the voice for your character and know it's the correct voice for the story you want to tell?
I can tell you that it can change. You can write an entire book and then edit it to have a different voice, because I've done that. Or you can fix the places where you slip, because like my default is snarky, sarcastic voice, but that doesn't fit for every character. And I've done a nice edit on people before. So you're allowed to not nail it on the first go, is what I'll say.
I would agree. I did that somewhat. It's part of what has been happening with my contemporary. She's gone through several voices, my main character. Part of the reason was because it was I was mirroring her off of someone. And then when I started writing it, I just realized that character just like, you just kind of know, like it just wasn't working. And I think what helped me kind of figure out what was the right voice was really trying to understand what kind of emotions and themes I wanted to portray. And then the voice should be reflecting that. And I realized that like the voice that I was using originally didn't quite fit the theme or like the tone of the book. And so that's why I sort of made the switch, which completely changed the character, her motivation, everything. But it worked a lot better for me that way. But then it's a lot of work to redo the whole book to a different voice, but sometimes you got to do it. Yeah.
I've switched. Like I was writing a book and like 20 or 30 pages in, I was like, this is not the voice I wanted. And so I changed it. So now, I have to go back and fix those first like X amount of pages because it's like completely different person's talking basically. So like Alexa and Laura said, like sometimes you're writing and it just comes to you later and you have to change it. But I try to go into it with an idea, but it often changes.
Yeah, that's what I would say. I like kind of like what Laura said, I do try and think of like what I'm trying to express with the character for sure when I'm going with their voice, but I also try and think really deeply about the sort of person they are and like their internal conflicts and that sort of thing. Like my main character in Blood Like Magic is extremely indecisive, and that shows in like she is constantly second guessing herself in her mind. She pays attention to things that other people do that are decisive because, you know, she's very envious of that. And then I also kind of think more surface level of like hobbies and stuff. So like, because she's really into cooking, she's going to notice things that people that love cooking are interested in. She's going to notice restaurants when she's walking down the street. She's going to notice specific ways people have cooked stuff when she eats it. And those are the kind of things I try and keep in mind when I go ahead with voice, just because those help me a lot. But yeah, kind of like what you said, Alexa, I have a tendency to make a sort of like melancholy character. It's like really grumpy, and I have to like tell myself what I'm going to go into with the voice, because otherwise I'll just default to like a grumpy character.
I feel like I have a
this is
default.
kind of adjacent to the Oh, I was just going to say a little adjacent to the voice is like the POV, because like I used to write all my books in third person because that's how like the voices would come to me as in like a third person past tense. I could never do present tense. But for my current project, like her character came to me in like a first person point of view, and I've never written in first person before. So I was like, okay, this is going to be hard.
It changes your
because
voice
I'm not used to
too.
writing it that way.
It really does.
Yeah, it totally changes like the way that especially like observations are just so much different than from third person to first person.
I'm more glib in third person than in first, because in first there's a lot more Kevin laughing at me being glib. There's more like, I don't know, emotional wibbling that you do in first person, I guess, as we'll call it. But something I do as well that helps voice or can help voice is I think about where the person comes from, like literally their parents, how they would have been raised, and what I want their primary, like Lizelle touched on this, the primary personality trait to be. What kind of person are they? And that was, at least in Brightly Burning, that template was set for me. It had to be Jane Eyre. She had to be on a certain level, passive aggressive, and want to disappear into the background. That voice was hard because that's not me. And so like going and knowing that, you know, okay, they're not going to snap off a one-liner here because that's just not who this person is, or vice versa. So like my new one, I wrote a people pleaser, and that had to impact every single bit of the voice, including how derisive she would be in her own head. I'm like, she probably wouldn't be as mean as me. It's fine. Until later. But that was actually a rewrite. That was an edit. I rewrote my main character's arc on my dev edits, and that hurt my soul, but it changed the voice a bit. So
I would say too, with the how to find the voice, try it out. With my current middle grade, I wrote the first chapter in 2 different POVs because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do if first would lend itself better to the story or third. And then given that it depended on how much voice I would do. I just feel like naturally as a writer, I can get more voicey with first person than I can third. And what actually happened was with me, I found that I needed to do third for the story, but I also then found a really voicey narrator telling the story. And so that's kind of how I found that voice. And I would have never thought of having a narrator actually telling the story unless I would have tried it out. So like, if you don't know, if you feel like you don't have it, just like write that first chapter as many times and as many different weird voices as you need, is what I would say.
Okay. On that note, should we sprint?
Oh no, the writing part. Whew, I haven't touched my book since our last writing sprint, so I'm a writer.
Okay. I'm going to try to figure out.
You're me from last week. Now I'm a pro,
Yep.
kind of.
I've done this once
Except,
before.
I kicked out Laura, so
No big deal.
Okay, a Chrome tab. Yes. Okay, wait. Timer. I already put that up there, so I know it's coming. Okay.
It's happening.
It
Okay.
happened.
Awesome. I got it. It works. Okay. Okay, so what should we do? 15 for the first sprint? Any other?
Let's do 15. Everyone
I
else?
vote for 15.
Okay.
She says, dreading working.
Yeah, I'm going to refill my coffee. Like, we'll see how much of the time I actually write. I'm a writer. It's great.
Is anybody else feeling, really quick, is there anybody else feeling this, like, you don't want to jump into a new project this close to Nano because you're like, and you want to start fresh with Nano? Or is this just a...
I might
That's why I'm revising.
I've felt that in the past. I'm in a weird spot, but also it's college admissions season, so I've already started counseling people, and it sucked up all my time, which is why I'm not being creative right now. So,
It's just me.
I'm like, I'm trying to finish this before Nano. Like, you gotta
I'm also trying to squeeze in another revision before Nano or before Preptober.
I feel like I'm in a weird spot because like I'm trying not to get too involved because I'm also expecting edits, but then I'm going to be like in a rush to finish edits before Nano. I don't want to rush them. It's a weird position to be in.
Well, hopefully they're not a ton since it's
I know.
Okay, 15 minutes on the clock. Let's begin.
all right.
Okay, the sprint is over. Did you guys hear the beeping?
No.
Okay,
No.
good.
I was
Maybe it's
expecting
'cause
a
I'm muted.
ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Come on, Laura, you're slacking.
My ding-a-ling is a little quiet today. It's all right.
Perverts.
Maybe I'll do better next time.
Okay, hold on. Let me remove that. Okay, here we are again. There. I feel like we look like the Brady Bunch when we're.
I would think in Hollywood
Yeah.
Squares.
Oh, yep, that one too.
Kevin, how do you even know
I-
Hollywood Squares? You're a child.
Okay,
Kidding.
Hollywood Squares was
so
also a
our
compliment.
grandparents helped raise us a lot, and so like they always watched old shows like that. That and
I love that.
it's where mine and Laura's love for One Life to Live comes from.
You can often tell
Yeah.
how old someone's parental unit is by some of their pop culture references, because my mom's was an old boomer, so I had weird references.
Sometimes I'll bring up things,
Yeah.
and Damien, my boyfriend, has no idea what I'm talking about, but it's like popular things from like early 2000s and 90s, and I was like, oh, you didn't have any older siblings.
That'll do
Like
it.
his
too.
brother, like that he lived with, so like he
Yeah.
doesn't get a lot of the references that like I got from like
Yeah.
Laura and my brother. So
One of my big old ones is
Yeah, we
I
have-
grew up watching Lawrence Welk,
I was-
so I'm weird.
Yeah. Yeah, we were Kevin's one of the youngest, so there's not just me. If you guys didn't know this, Kevin and I are brother and sister. So I'm the oldest, Kevin's the second to youngest. So there's also 2 other brothers between me and Kevin. So he has several older siblings. Plus we were, like Kevin said, our grandparents helped raise us. So we have a lot of Kevin has a lot of older
That's
references.
Damien,
You're welcome, Kevin.
Damien grandma raised him, so he has like a lot of like old references, like Golden Girls and stuff
Golden
like that. I'm like,
Girls.
oh,
I had like weird names.
which I watched for like I watched Golden Girls for like 5 hours.
I saw that on your
No
Instagram.
Yeah.
How did you guys do for the sprint?
Better than I thought I would. I got
Yeah,
228.
same.
It's because I started writing dialogue, and that's always like a shortcut sheet to getting words in for me.
Same. Like when I write dialogue, I'm like, I could write 1,000 words a minute with dialogue. That crap's so easy. But I got 285 words. But I also did some like research into druid magic and like ceremonies.
Ooh, I have
Kevin
a
searched
lot of druid stuff from Dungeons and Dragons because I was a druid on that. So if you need any D&D info on druids, let me know. I'll help you out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I did some editing. I discovered a slight issue and was trying to fix it, and it required me to do math, which was not great.
Oh no. Don't make writers do math.
Yeah, it's very upsetting. It's all birth dates. Like I needed to know what age these two characters might be in elementary school, but they go to like a which elementary school, and then I had to be like, oh wait, they can't have overlapped, otherwise they would have known each other. It's just, yeah, I gotta fix it.
That's fun.
So many of you guys have high word counts in the comments.
No, I was
Yeah.
I was just
It's
thinking
only
about that.
15 minutes.
Yeah, I missed opening the chat, and I was supposed to do
Seven
it.
is 800. I can't.
But I saw this this question from Gia, which I thought was really good. I'm just wondering how you guys are able to persistently write. Do you tend to stick to a schedule each day or just write when you want?
I stick to a schedule because I'm unnecessarily strict for no reason. So I will block out time on a Google Calendar for like how long I plan to work on a project, and then I'll basically like make a schedule of what I need to do every day to hit that deadline, which is pretty much like right now. I need to edit 2 chapters a day, though I extended my deadline so that I could have days where I didn't do anything like yesterday. So, but that's pretty much what I do. I do like a very low level schedule of like what I have to do each day. But I will say as a caveat that I'm also currently unemployed. So.
Lizelle, you gotta stop apologizing for all the compliments.
Well, no, but I think it's legitimate because I'm like, some people are juggling like day jobs or like children, and I'm like, caveat, I am childless, and I, this is what I'm doing full-time right
I totally understand that, because I think like perspective can help a lot of people, but I also think you should still be proud of the things that you're completing.
That's such a smart way to be a full-time writer too. Like, that's the discipline it takes. I'm scared of ever writing full-time. I don't know if I have that discipline, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
I had no choice.
Yeah.
You had to do it.
COVID came and I worked in the travel industry, but I'm making it work.
Oh God, speaking of, it's just non sequitur briefly. I found out the first company I ever worked for, which was travel adjacent, went out of business.
Yeah.
They shuttered last week, and I'm like, it was a very toxic work environment, and I know people who are still there, and I'm like, awkward.
Sign of the times.
Yeah. I personally do have a hard time. I would love to be like Lizelle and be very consistent. Even like with my own schedule, I would love to be like, oh, I do this writing on these days at this time, but my life just doesn't really lend itself to that. I do have a day job. I have a husband who wants to spend time with me a lot, so I have to kind of juggle that. I don't have kids, but I do have needy dogs who also like my attention. And also, just if I'm being completely frank, like my mental health does not allow me to always just be ready to go and in the mood to write. So I kind of have to strike when the iron is hot, and when I'm feeling good and I'm feeling productive, then I try to get as much done. And when I'm not, I just try to be kind to myself and let myself know that it's okay to take time for myself and do other things. So I just, some people, I just don't think they're, don't be hard on yourself if you can't be very strict about it, because some people's lifestyles just don't lend themselves to that. So
I have tried to be like really regimented, and sometimes it works, but I also have mental health issues and chronic illness issues that sometimes just don't lend themselves to being like, even if I did make a schedule, it doesn't mean I'm able to stick to it every day. So I tried, and like I feel guilty though. Like I felt guilty yesterday that I didn't write, and then I was like, I gotta remind myself that sometimes we have to take days off. So I wish I could be as regimented as someone like Lizelle, but like my brain's just like, nah. I want to be that person though. So Lizelle, if you have any tricks, tips, please let me know.
Become a different person. That's what I tell myself.
This is being born extremely A-type.
See, I'm not.
I'm an A minus.
I don't think I'm A or B. I'm like C type.
Yeah, my husband always talk about that. Like, I'm an A minus. He's a B plus. So we're kind of like similar.
Lizelle, what's your sign?
I am a Sagittarius. I did that like cosine thing, and I can't remember what it was, but I remember it didn't work for memes still, and that's the only reason I cared about knowing my sign. And then I was mad, and so.
Me and Lainey and Laura are really into this stuff, so you'll have to check your full birth chart later tonight, so we can like judge you.
I love astrology. Okay, so I do work full time, and with COVID, I've been working from home, which has been really, really nice. So it's kind of like I'm a full-time writer, because if I'm being honest, I have both my laptops open all day. So if I go over to my personal laptop and type up a few words, no one's going to know unless they're watching this video. But
I'm always like, I hope I've noticed my live streams. If I talk about work-life balance, sometimes it's like the tea.
Yeah, and so when I was going to the office all the time, I had a really good routine where I would mostly write on the weekends because I'm a loser and have no life. And then I would also write like in the evenings when I got home from work. But with this work from home schedule, I kind of just write all the time. But I also mostly still stick to writing at night and writing on the weekends. But I've noticed that I've gotten a lot of comments on my writing vlogs that say like I look really disciplined. And I guess I've never thought of it that way, but I guess I kind of am, but I think it's because I do writing vlogs. So it's like, I can't put up a writing vlog with me not doing anything. So it's almost kind of like the highlights reel thing where, yeah, you're seeing me working. But you also don't see all the times where I'm like sitting or laying in bed watching Gossip Girl for 5 hours straight. So it is definitely a balance, but I feel like I'm pretty good at balancing my work and my writing now.
Yeah. I'm very similar with evening writing, but I have to say, like, full permission to anyone, like, you don't have to write all the time. Like, when you actually think about it, I only write books once every 12 to 18 months. And when I do it, like I go hard, like I go 3 or 4 months of writing almost every single day. And that's when it's like getting the story out. But then I won't draft for I realized the other day, because I'm drafting now, I haven't really drafted in 18 months because I'm a mono book person. I work one at a time. So meaning, don't like freak out if you're like, oh no, structure. You only have to do it for enough time to get it done. And you can stretch that out if you need to, skip days. I find I need some consistency. And so I do have a schedule technically, but only when I'm actively drafting. And it's like 1 hour a day on the evenings with some skip days, and then 3 to 4 hours on the weekends. It's just, go easy on yourself, because then I'll go months and months and months without writing, and I enjoy every minute of it. So. I love editing, though. Part of it is that I do that so I can get to editing, because I love it so much.
Yeah, I can't write every day either. Most days I've got like a unfortunate neurological condition, and that keeps me from writing like every day or having a consistent schedule and things like that. But on my good days, I've implemented 2 new things. I've had like a clock-in day. Also, again, like Lizelle, because of my disability, I don't have a job right now. I don't have children. So I am home all the time. So on my good days, I do have a little bit more free time. But I have like a clock-in time. And every day, if I'm feeling good, if it's a good day, I'm not going to push myself if it's not. That's when I sit down to write. And like Lainey was talking about, sprints really help me like focus. Even if I just say like, okay, I'm going to do 1 15-minute sprint, and I have to do that today. I can at least write for 15 minutes. When I sit down and do that 15 minutes, by the time it's over, I'm like, oh, I'm like in the zone now. I can do a whole bunch more. So that's what kind of keeps me writing persistently, is the clock in time and the sprinting.
I 100% endorse sprinting. I feel like everything in life, I know Laura's the same way. Everything in life should be done in sprints.
Oh, my husband and I started implementing cleaning. We now clean with sprints. So we'll do like a 15-minute cleaning sprint, and then we'll watch an episode of Vampire Diaries. And then we do a 15-minute cleaning sprint. So it just works better that way.
Yeah, that's super helpful. Carving out time, I find, is like the most helpful one. Like even when I was working, I used to wake up before work and like do my writing. Well, Kevin, you was really early for work. My work started at like 8:55, so I had to leave the house at like 7. So I'd wake up at like 5:30, and then I'd write from 6 to 7 in that chunk. But like that chunk of an hour, I like got so much done. I honestly got like the same amount done that I now like take several hours.
I literally roll out of bed at 8:30, like, and I would be at work by 9:30. Like, and now I roll out of bed at 8:30 and get on my laptop, work from home. It's
same, because I have to,
as long as humanly possible.
I work at 8 o'clock, and literally my alarm is set for 8 o'clock, so I just roll out of bed.
My boss knows it. Like, we had a conference call come up, like, our boss sent the notification on a Sunday, and I had to check my email. She knew I slept to the last possible minute. She was blowing out my phone. She's like, get out of bed. And she knew it. I'm like, yeah, I will sleep as much as humanly possible.
No, I would do that because when the evening hits, I lose like 70% of productivity.
Which makes sense.
I'm shocked that I do anything Kevin and Laura's live streams, because like the second like 7 o'clock hits, I like things get bad.
I did have to train myself. Well, in fairness, when I was in college and I wrote fan fiction, I just would stay up till 3 a.m. and get some of my best work done at 1 a.m. But that doesn't work anymore because I am a grown-up who tries to go to bed on time. But I've trained myself to write at 10 p.m. It did take I had to learn to do that. You are right. It's so you just want to like relax for the whole evening. So that does take a little bit of, I call it training. Like, it's a habit that you have to form. And some nights I don't want to do it, and I don't.
Yeah, and I'm like, what if I just like played my Nintendo Switch for a couple hours?
Right. That was my problem. I would find excuses, but I also used to do it in the morning, because when we would go out and hang out with people, when did we do that? I know, right? I would do that. So then when I like went to work, I could just like go hang out with people spontaneously without being like, oh my God, no, I can't go because I have to write. Or I would go and then not write. And then, yeah.
To that end, I do use the weekends to make up for week weekday days. Like if a social event comes up, I'll go. I mean, in the past, obviously now nothing exists. And then I would have to do more word count on the weekend. But like, thus I wasn't going out and socializing on the weekends. Like when I'm actively drafting, I'll go to a coffee shop for 4 or 5 hours, and it takes up the most of the day. Yeah.
I have a question. Have you guys found that writing has been easier or harder since quarantine, COVID, this whole shift in society?
For me, because I'm working from home now, I feel like it's been easier in that respect, that I find more time to write. Like, because before I was doing like a 40-minute commute each way, and then I was like mentally exhausted from like having to interact with other people like all day long, and the commute and all that stuff, that I'd come home and I'd be really tired. So I never got stuff done during the week. And now that I don't have that commute and I don't have to be on all day long with people, I feel like I have the mental energy. But with all of the scariness that has been happening, I think I've had more days where my mental health is not in a great place to be working on it. So I think it kind of goes both, where it's like I have more time, but when things keep happening, I get more down, and then I am not as inspired. So yeah.
It's definitely both for me. Sometimes, like the first couple of months, it's just like, I'm honestly glad I was editing at that point. Like that was a part of my brain I could access, even though everything was bonkers. I was like, because I did my dev edits in March and April when this was first starting, and I somehow made it with a couple of deadline extensions. But drafting, I only was able to tackle that in August, because before that it just wasn't going to happen. The hardest part for me personally, go figure, I used to exclusively write at home by myself for years, and then it stopped working motivation wise, and so I trained myself to leave my house to write, and now I can't do that. And the biggest adjustment has been retraining myself how to write at home when I could watch Netflix or play a video game.
I have a favorite cafe like 2 blocks from my apartment that I used to write in before COVID, and so like I miss going there and just like writing there.
I've got one of those too, and I was afraid they closed, but they just renovated. I'm like, good. I need you when this is over. I need your cold brew.
The place right here, it's like a nerd cafe. So like part of it looks like a sci-fi spaceship. Part of it looks like a fairy forest. They have a giant like throne, and so like it gives me like this like atmosphere that I love. And like all their stuff, instead of selling like coffee, they sell potions and stuff like that. And it's all nerd themed, and it's like so amazing. And luckily, it's called Requiem. It's only like a year old.
Okay, I was like, how have I not heard of this?
And like, luckily they made it through this because they've been doing like, they have a Patreon now to help them out because they're newer. So I'm like really happy that they made it through, but like I miss going there and just like hanging out because it's like such a great atmosphere. And so I think I'm similar to Laura though, where like I have more time to write because I'm not commuting anymore. But like some days I'm just like so bogged down mentally that I'm just like, okay, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I feel like mine has been kind of easier, but I think that's mainly because of all the stress that was related to my job. That was just low-level stress that I didn't even realize was occurring because I was constantly like trying to get promoted, and to get promoted, I had to do a bunch of stuff. So then I had to like push through social awkwardness and anxiety around presenting, to like constantly do presentations because the workplace I was at prized being like loud and outgoing, which is not my personality. And so I had to force it to kind of propel myself forward professionally, which I didn't realize how stressful that was until I didn't have to do it anymore. And then I was like, oh. And so I was just kind of relieved of a giant boulder of stress and like having to do all that social stuff. And now I don't have to do it. So now I'm like calmed down more, and like stressful things that happened during COVID, because I don't have the stressful job, I feel like I just dealt with so much better. Like when all of the like, the protests, etc., that were like right at the start of it, and I had felt very down and not particularly great, I basically had like a few days where I just really didn't do that much at all. But then it was fine because I had room to like give myself breaks from my writing, and I didn't have to like go sit at work with the company that I would have been doing farce things during that time and pretend like it was all okay. Especially in a workplace when I've had some interactions of that kind, microaggressions and the sort. So then it was kind of easier because I didn't have to deal with all of that on top of it. So like in that way, writing wise is easier just because I don't have the stress, the extra stress. It's like gone now. It's just the stress of COVID, which is its own stress.
You're also in Canada, so I feel like
Canada's
a little nicer out there these days.
It's very different. Like our government, like I've been helped out from the beginning.
Imagine that.
Financially by the government. I continue.
What a concept.
Everybody, masks are mandatory here.
Imagine.
I'm in a small town, and so the cases are extremely low, and you can get a test whenever you want. My boyfriend's got a test.
I had
You're really rubbing it in.
But
I had a nightmare
it's different.
last night when I went to a grocery store and no one was wearing masks but me.
Oh, that's what it's like here.
Yeah.
So like that's like the kind of nightmares I'm having.
Your
now.
nightmare is my reality, Kevin.
People here, everyone here wears masks because like they won't let you in the stores unless you're wearing one.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm still having nightmares about it.
Yeah, ours are mandatory too, but I'm still walking down the aisle and I see someone with like their nose sticking out.
No.
And I'm like,
No,
that defeats the purpose.
You misunderstand the point. Yeah. And you're like,
They don't know science.
I mean, this is the result of decades of poor public education in the United States, especially when it comes to science, which was largely intentional in a lot of cases. So we're reaping what we sowed. I've been preaching for years that the solution to 90% of the problems in this country is stronger public education, but it's never going to happen. So yay. Because collective idiocy, it's great.
We'll start a new sprint in a couple seconds here, but
On that
I thought
note.
this was I thought this was a good idea. I haven't thought of that. Paige says that she misses writing in coffee shops, that she switched to writing with coffee scented candles. That is a good idea. I'm super into fall right now, so like I'm burning, not right now, obviously, but pumpkin.
Oh my
pecan
God,
waffles.
It's so good.
Same candle scent, just with
Because
two
of you,
different
Laura,
labels.
and our cats. I went Bath and Body Works. I just did the thing.
Yeah, I got my sweater weathers right here out of reach, so we were burning that earlier.
I think I'm
You know,
living.
burning. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Actually, I think I'm just like living in a fake summertime because our current candle's coconut. It just smells like because we don't really get a fall here.
Yes, that's why I bought candles that
Which is
smell
why
like
I
real
chose
fall.
to find more fall. I almost bought a pumpkin spice one the other day, but then I smelled it and it was like gross. It was so.
I'll tell you the ones that I ordered, Kevin, because they're so good. They're like autumn lakeside morning and stuff. Oh my God, they're everything.
Some of their titles, I'm like, does it really smell like
Yeah,
that?
I got all the autumny ones, and I'll tell you which ones to get and which ones not. So.
Or like I
I
recently got like
didn't get
champagne
some of those.
toast. Champagne
I
toast.
almost
What
bought
does that
that one.
smell like?
Tell me what
I
it
love
smells like, because I was really curious. I'm just wary of like the fresh morning type ones because sometimes they get all like weird with like patchouli and stuff.
No. See, I
I
don't do
bought the ones
patchouli.
that have clove in them. Clove is
Yeah.
like,
I like fresh linen. Like that's probably one of my favorite scents. It's just like fresh linen.
I don't do anything with patchouli, and I don't do anything with floral scents. I don't like floral scents at all.
I did buy their limoncello candle and I haven't burned it yet, but out of the thing, it smells the best. So I'm super excited.
I try to stay away from food ones because they make me hungry. So I just
See, I like the ones because it tricks my brain into thinking that there's something going on in the kitchen.
My,
And since I can't cook or I can't like bake.
I like lemon because my favorite essential oil is lemongrass. I love lemongrass scent. It's so good.
I love the smell of
smelling
lemon.
things.
We
So
almost
I
bought-
love candles.
We almost bought a lemon candle the other day too, but then like we were this close before we got the coconut one, but it kind of reminded me of like like gyms have that cleaning solution that smells kind of
Well, yeah, if you get like antiseptic lemon, it's tricky, but the limoncello one at least is supposed to smell like a bakery treat. So
well, I honestly don't necessarily mind the smell of the cleaning solution from the gym. I'm like,
I love cleaning solutions.
it kind of tricks me into thinking that maybe I did something productive with my body.
yeah, can you imagine?
Okay. With that,
On that note,
bring this back up. Okay, where did it go? Okay. So what should we do? 20 minutes this time? I never know. Like, what are people's preferred sprinting times?
I like 15 or 20 personally.
Yeah, 15 or 20 is usually what we do.
Let's do 20 because we just did 15. Okay.
Also, earlier we were talking. Lizelle was talking about work stuff and like. I want everybody to know if I seem a little chaotic and looking around a lot, I'm technically working right now. I'm monitoring. So like I have another laptop. I have like 2 laptops next to me. So like if I seem a little chaotic today.
It's amazing because I don't even know what everyone does.
For work.
Yeah, I know what Lainey does.
Yeah.
I mean, my job doesn't. It's so boring. I can't even explain it to you.
Sometimes those are the best jobs for being a writer, though, because like you don't have to like take it home with you, and you can be creative.
Yeah, when I was a teacher, I could not work on my writing. I didn't work on my writing for like years because it takes too much mental energy to be talking, like reading books for class and then teaching those books and then reading papers and correcting and then try to do your own. So I purposefully got out of that field so that I could focus on my own writing.
That was my last job, the travel adjacent one. It took up so much of my emotional bandwidth that I couldn't be creative.
So now I have a job that is like Kevin, not worth even talking about in terms of like it's boring, but I leave it at work and I'm able to do other things afterwards, and that's how it goes. So
I don't even think people would understand my job if I explained it to them. So it's just not that like people are stupid. It's just like it doesn't like it's a weird job that is dumb.
I love weird jobs though. I try to reassure kids, like teens who are doing college. I'm like, just like major in what you want. There are all sorts of weird jobs out there and weird ways to make a living. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Like I currently work for a contract research organization. So basically we work for pharmaceutical companies. So we're working on the COVID vaccines and stuff. So
I work for a press release distribution company, but I technically work in a financial role technically, but there's not really any finances behind it. So dumb.
You know, that's funny because like I graduated with an English degree. Which people like to shit on that degree, but listen, you can get any job with an English degree because anything, they will call you because they always want people that can like form sentences and write stuff.
Well, and like analytical thinking.
Yes. Well, we take for granted that like we're all writers, so like everyone must be a writer, but legit. You get into certain companies and you realize, oh, I'm the only person who can string together coherent, colorful language. Like I do all of our corporate like B2B email stuff because I'm the writer on staff. I'm like, sure, whatever. But like, like you can apply those skills in so many different jobs.
Since I work for, like pharmaceutical stuff, everyone I work with is has science degrees. Yes. And so I have been able to actually like move my way up very quickly because I have skills that the people I work with don't have. And so that's really helped me with that.
Yeah, I used to proofread all my science-y friends' lab reports. And I could tell I was definitely learning stuff as an English major.
And the analysis.
No shade, but
English isn't a writing degree strictly. It's actually literary analysis and critical thinking. And that's
critical thinking, analytical thinking is actually something that is not taught enough and is not emphasized in most.
It's really not.
Most majors. So that's what I always tell like students that were considering English, even just like getting it as a minor, it's something you can really sell in terms of like, you would be surprised at how many people lack critical and analytical thinking.
I work with basically all English majors because press release distribution company, we're proofreading stuff. I'm not, but they are. And I work with so many writers, screenwriters that have sold stuff, but this is like their day job. So like I work with, actually, I don't know if she wants people to know. So I work with some published authors and like people that have sold screenplays and stuff. That just goes to show you kids though that writing full time is very difficult.
Yeah.
It is.
Might not because it's proof. Like
Even in Hollywood, it is.
a lot of my coworkers, because they just do proofreading, it doesn't take away that creativity because it's like a different part of the English major brain. So
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Okay, 20-minute sprint on the clock. Here we go.
Stress.
And
Okay.
start.
Dingling.
I feel like I'm like clicking so many different things to like.
Ding-a-ling-a-ling.
Yep, sprint's over. How did everybody do?
Yeah, 511 words, which isn't bad. I got some work in too, so like I had to stop for a second.
I finished doing all the notes for one of my books, so that was good.
I wrote 223 words.
Nice.
And just to
I
give
would
you
say-
insight into my pantser process, I sat down today having literally no clue what I was doing or where this chapter was going. And so that's what I've been doing. And you're like, how? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
Almost done editing this one chapter that I've been working on.
Yeah, I've been working on a chapter since this morning.
I didn't write anything. I actually got one of those. This is great, by the way, for all you writers out there. I got one of those massage guns. Have you guys seen those? Like for your neck and your well, anywhere. But it's like amazing. Like if you have if you just naturally stress your neck or shoulders when you're writing, and then you just take a break and like get that massage gun in there, it's just like godsend. So that's what I did over this break, which is technically productive still. So.
Wow, a lot of people in the chat are getting high numbers there. Good.
Yeah, dang, guys.
I'm always so impressed by people who can write that fast. But it's not me, and I accept who I am as a person and a writer. Yeah.
Speaking of like higher word counts with NaNoWriMo coming up, how do you guys choose a story, like an idea to pursue? If you guys do NaNoWriMo, I guess.
I have to be burning to write it, because otherwise there's just no way in hell I'm going to hit the word count. Like, I have to be really excited, personally, and have more of my roadmap. Because, yeah.
Yeah, passion is really important. I actually filmed an entire video in which I take everyone through my extremely messy process, because I had a lot of trouble picking a story this time around. But for me in the end, passion wins out. I have to be super excited to do it, because those word counts are so high, and I can't write something I'm lukewarm about.
Yeah. And I mean, because bearing in mind the only time I've ever won Nano was my debut, because I was just burning to write that book. But in fairness, I also consider any word count during Nano an accomplishment. So my bar is low.
I have never won at Nano ever, and so after last year, I decided to put the no in Nano, and I'm not going to. I'm still going to do it because I appreciate the community aspect of it, and I appreciate focus, using that time to focus and interact with other people to focus. I really love the energy, and I do get a lot done during that. But I'm no longer going to aim for a word count as a successful completion of Nano, because it just sets me up for failure and makes me really hard on myself when I'm for various reasons, I'm just not capable of 30 days of consistency of anything. And
November is such a rough month.
Yeah, so I'm just going to focus on, I'm going to partake of the community aspect of it, and the planning and the hype and the energy, and really harness that, but not going to hold myself to any strong standards. And I've been working on this book forever, y'all. I got to finish it. I'm not working on something else. That's how I focus, is I got to get it done. So that's what I'm doing.
So I ascend to some fugue state during NaNoWriMo.
I think that's the way you get through it. You have to I barely remember the month when I did it. It's a blur. So
yeah, I mean, I was watching my 2017 vlog, and I just wanted to tell my past self, I'm like, oh my God, take care of yourself, because I got sick twice, and I was like, I don't care, 60,000 words. and I know exactly, I'm gonna do that again for November, because I don't know, I guess especially maybe now with the pandemic and everything that's been going on, it's just I want to totally escape into something and just go all out for like 1 month and just do something crazy. And NaNoWriMo is crazy. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna, I know someone like asked earlier, like if any of us plan to vlog NaNoWriMo. I think I've decided I'm going to do weekly vlogs. Because as much as I like the hype of like what a month-long vlog for NaNoWriMo has, like to build up to getting up to 50,000.
Gonna kill your analytics, so.
What do you mean?
No, daily vlogs usually don't.
Oh no, I wouldn't do daily.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I've seen channels that do that. It's like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
YouTube is cruel.
I wanted to do daily. I just don't, for many reasons.
It's a lot of work.
It's not going to do
not fathom it.
Extremely exhausting.
Like I have so much time. Yeah, like you have so much time to put into the writing, and then you're going to take time out of that to then edit per day. It just seems like a bad idea.
I recently started doing weekend vlogs for my channel, and I'm just going to stay with that. So I'm still going to do like nano vlogs, but it's just going to be my same ones that I've been doing on the weekends. And
I'm impressed that anyone can vlog. I've stopped doing it because I'm really bad at it.
I love everyone's vlogs, even bad ones. I
know people love them, but I'm so bad at it.
And I know we talked about this in our group chat, but we're like how we're all nosy. Like that's why vlogs are like my jam.
That's my
I'm so nosy about other people's lives. I want to see. I like the clips of like their apartment. I want to see how they decorate, if they decorate.
So my thing, I'm just vain, honestly, is part of it. Like I don't look cute when I write, like where I sit. Like I never have makeup on. I'm rarely wearing pants, and I'm
my god,
I can't realistically vlog. I think
vlog makeup in most of my vlogs. So.
But meaning like,
okay, girl, have you seen my videos? I always look at that. Every single one of you. I even try.
Like they want to see like the real you. They like the you without makeup. They like the you who's just.
I don't like the me without makeup.
Yeah, well. We have an intervention here.
We don't need those angles on my body. It's just
realism.
not. No one needs to see how disgusting my apartment is.
On my face in every vlog, or it's not cat hair, dog hair on my face in every single vlog.
I'm always like, why do I always have crusties in my eyes when I vlog?
I just honestly don't want to write while I'm filming myself. It just feels really inorganic, and I'm like, if that's what I need.
You just forget about it.
I'd rather write.
Update the camera. I don't actually write myself like the whole time.
That's why I did vlogs. Like, reading vlogs feel a little different, but I gave up on those because COVID. It's like I don't go anywhere. I can't keep
do the same thing with a writing vlog. Like most people don't actually do all of the because no one wants to watch someone type on a computer. It's about the reflecting and talking about what you're doing and thinking about it. It's like showing in the life of no one wants to just stare at you while you type for 30 minutes. I mean, that's not really what a writing vlog is.
It's like the aesthetic B-roll. I think that's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
And I always forget that it's on. Like once I start getting in my groove, I'm like, okay. But like the starting, it's always like I always cut out like the first 2 minutes of me when I'm like filming myself because I'm like, I know that's not going to be good footage.
Yeah.
Well, more power to y'all. More power. Maybe someday when I don't have a full-time job and I can apply some mental bandwidth to that, but not now.
That's why I don't vlog during the week because after I get off my full-time job, I'm not trying to be on camera and be on and do whatever. I've tried it and it just doesn't really work for me. I want to just go.
Look at Jessica spilling the tea. The writing is fake. I'm like, well, that explains it.
Yeah.
If y'all want me to look cute while I write, I can fake some things, but it's just
stop worrying about looking cute all the time, Alexa.
I've been filming this weekend a writing vlog, and like my hair was up in a ponytail yesterday, and I was like filming it. I'm like, wow, I look like a thumb, but I'm like, I don't care. So,
yeah.
Also, I don't think everyone does fake aesthetic B-roll writing because, like, when I do my B-roll writing, I'm actually writing. But I know there are some
people do, but I do.
I'm actually writing.
I do too.
I think I would be bad at fake writing. Like it would be so fake. I'd be like,
it would be for me. Faster,
I don't know.
I've had a couple of clips where I can tell I'm like, I'm not writing because like the typing doesn't even look real.
I like admiring other people for how good their vlogs are, and then I can just watch them.
I wish that mine were like more aesthetic, or like better looking. I try, guys. I really do.
No, I don't even try.
That's all that matters.
I just want to be like a cute. Lizelle knows where I'm coming from. I just want to be like a cute, like
studio vlog.
Studio vlog, basically. Yeah. I'm such a mess.
All of my vlogs to look like an adorable studio vlog of a person that's like, you know, runs an Etsy sticker shop.
Yeah,
I spent a lot of my adult life putting on a show of the kind of person I was, and I vowed to myself a couple of years ago I was done with that. So you get the real me in my vlog. You get me ugly, crusty-eyed. You get me putting things off. You get my messy room. And I vowed to myself that I'm going to always be 100. So that I'm not here for the aesthetics. I'm not here to zhuzh it up. And if I'm wearing lipstick, it's because I actually felt like it, not because I feel like I'm going to be on camera. And that's what I enjoy when I
wear lipstick all the time.
Well, I do. I love
makeup.
I'm not doing it to impress people. It's because I like it. And I've really learned over the last couple of years to be comfortable and okay with who I am and okay if other people don't like that. So I'm just here to make it 100. And those are the vlogs that I like. I like when people are just being honest and themselves and showing love. I like to see people's real lives. I don't want, if I wanted to see like an aesthetic idea of someone's life, I would just watch TV. I mean,
see, I would rather watch it. I love the aesthetic ones. I can't make them.
I don't think it's possible to not have a layer of artifice in anything that goes on YouTube. There's always a layer of artifice. And that's something that we have to, even like.
To an extent, I would say that, but not, what I'm saying is I'm not going to worry so much about how I look or what people think about what's going on. I mean, I'm 100% like myself that I would show to anyone else. So no one wants the real ugly me, because even my husband doesn't get that. So, you know,
I honestly think it's one of the most fascinating things about YouTube, though. The you that you present to the world. I find it very interesting.
The way I sort of think about it is it's not an artifice. It's really just turning up the volume on who you really are. So,
although, I mean, I've met some people who are completely different in real life than YouTube, and it's mind blowing, because I think we're all pretty much the same. Mm-hmm. Kevin and Laura, I haven't met you in person, but I just feel like I know who you are.
Yeah. I almost met you in person, but I couldn't out.
This is what you get, honestly. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say sometimes I'm shy in person if I'm around people I don't know, but like then when I get to know you a little bit more, I'm pretty much myself.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Get to the me that you see in videos, you'd have to like know me for a little bit, and I'd have to get over like social panic to be like normal, and then I could be my normal self. But before that, I need like a minute.
Definitely.
I pretty much though do the same thing where I day to day don't really care about what I look like. So like what I look like is exactly the same for YouTube as it is outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
I wish I was better put together in general, but I'm just not.
I think you're great. Don't worry. Hey, I didn't learn to wear makeup until I was like 34. So.
I'm not gonna lie. The other day, I was watching someone's video and they were wearing this really pretty lipstick. I was like, maybe I want to wear lipstick sometime.
I have red.
I really have been craving to paint my nails lately, but then I went to a store the other day to pick up some stuff for a collab, and they had no black nail polish. The entire store. I was like, how do they still have black nail polish? So I didn't
get it on Amazon.
I bought fancy press-on nails from Etsy. I'm waiting for them to come.
I love the press-on nails that you can get off Etsy. They're so pretty.
I think it's gonna be nice, and I can't paint my own nails, so.
I'm sure it would be a mess because I've only painted my nails one time for, I think it was a Halloween costume maybe. I don't remember. I did it myself and it was bad. So I can't imagine what it would look like. But.
Okay.
Basically, I want to get into makeup, but I don't have the money to get into makeup.
I feel like it's like in college, with less money than I have now, I used to buy so much like stuff from Sephora, and like now I'm like back down where I'm like, let's do that drugstore makeup instead.
Yeah,
I would say that I think that the more I watch Drag Race, though, I'm like, do I want to get into makeup or do I want to get into drag? Because they're two different things. I'm like, I could buy all Christine Mattel's makeup, but then I'd look like a drag queen. And I'm like, but maybe that's what I'm going for. I don't know.
Mine
that would be amazing.
Mine's directly related to like how life is going for me. So like when things were really good and I was in California and I was happy and I was doing stuff all the time and like life was great. I wore makeup all the time. I was cute. I was doing stuff, and now I'm just like, okay. This is I'm gonna put some foundation on because I have rosacea and I don't like to look at that. But other than that, that's about all you're gonna get. So.
I told Damien I'm gonna do drag at least once in my life because I want to throw like this really fancy ball, but I hate what men wear to like fancy balls. Like the women throughout history have so much more beautiful clothing, and especially now that I watch like people on YouTube who make historical clothing, like women's clothing was so much more pretty and beautiful. And I told Damien I'm gonna drag at least once. I'm gonna come down in this beautiful ass ball gown.
Huge.
Men had a time. There were certain periods.
But I feel like men's suits have only slightly changed. Where like women's
That's true.
silhouettes and everything is just like
Our silhouettes, like it's bonkers. You're right.
Rachel Maxey and Bernadette Banners, like they make these beautiful clothing, and like I watch these people that make these beautiful dresses. I've always been obsessed with dresses, and I'm just like, men are like, here's a slightly different suit. And it's like, that's boring. I want a beautiful giant ball gown, and I want it to be like super over the top.
Speaking of that, I feel like, at least with like my current project that I've been working on, like dresses and fashion is like a huge part of the story. And like I love describing like the dresses that they're wearing and like the colors and everything.
Yeah.
But then when I get to like the guy characters, I'm like, suit jacket.
I love when fantasy books get really heavy on like the clothing that the women are wearing. It's sort of the dresses, because the dresses are always so, and it's like, oh, the guy's wearing a blah blah. I'm like, I don't care. Go back to the dress, describe it to me. Love that shit so much. I love it.
Lainey's really good at that too. I remember when I read
You'll get it, Kevin. You'll get it.
Yeah.
But a tip for that is that like my Pinterest board, I saved like all the dresses that I know that I'll probably end up having to describe. So then when I'm like at a part where I have to describe a dress, I just pull up the Pinterest inspiration for it. And I'm like, okay, I'm writing everything that I see. And then I have to look up different like fabrics and everything like that. But yeah, that's how I try to capture like the actual dress. So if you ever read my book and you like read the dresses, you'll be able to go to Pinterest and probably tell exactly the one I'm talking about.
Same with me. If you read The Stars We Steal and then look at my Pinterest board, it's like, oh yeah, I love describing dresses.
Marianne asked me, what would my drag name be, or will I just keep my YouTube handle and an ode to Bob the drag queen? I actually decided that my drag name would be Minestrone, like minestrone. I don't know if like one day I was just like, Minestrone. I can go by Minnie. I like that. But I need Lainey, I'm so freaking excited because I love reading I have a bunch of dresses saved on Pinterest too under like certain like novel ideas. Like I even have like this sci-fi political kind of like. What I really liked about the first 3 Star Wars that everyone hates when Anakin's a kid is all the politics and like the Senate scenes. I love that crap. And so like I have this idea of like writing a sci-fi that's similar to that, and like I have all these dresses saved, like these really beautiful like galaxy dresses that like one of the main characters would wear. I'm just like, I want to write it so bad.
For the aesthetic.
Yeah.
The aesthetic, man. I love that crap.
Okay, should we try one more sprint and then call
it
a day?
Productive. How dare you? Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sounds good.
Maybe do a 10.
10? Okay.
So that it's a 2-hour stream, or
yeah.
I can do math.
Yeah, let's do a 10. And we're gonna be like the most productive we've ever been in these 10 minutes.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No peer pressure.
Okay, add this back. I will admit, this StreamYard, I mean, I haven't used it as often as other people have, but it is a lot better than the Google Hangouts.
I
do a lot more with it.
Really forgotten you have to use Google Hangouts. Oh, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
Back in my day, we used Google Hangouts.
And before that, there was YouTube had their own streaming service.
Yeah.
Because that's what, yeah.
I actually didn't mind Google Hangouts, but StreamYard does have its advantages.
Okay, 10 minutes on the clock. Ready, set, go. Ding, 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 ding.
You guys did harmonize. That was nice.
Take on the road.
Okay. Remove. Well, last one. How did people do?
Meh.
I started editing my YouTube video for tomorrow instead of writing.
My husband got a flat tire, so I was talking to him on the phone for most of it. So.
I barely got 50 words. Whoops.
I answered some YouTube comments.
Nice.
No, I just started editing. Also, this chapter, for no reason whatsoever, I've written in past tense because of drafting. So my whole book is in present tense, but this chapter, this one's in past tense for no reason. So fixing it.
What a surprise. Okay. Oh, other people.
So talented, all these
Yeah.
sprinters. Ugh,
Oh,
I know. right?
610 minutes.
you must not even be thinking. You're just typing. Mm-hmm.
That's my problem. I think too much when I write. Can't shut the brain off. 200s. That's good. I don't even think I could do 200 in 10 minutes. 99 words. That's about where I would be, Katie.
Yeah.
So close.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for joining us today. It was a lot of fun talking and sprinting.
Thank you for having.
Yes, thank you.
And if you guys are curious more about BookNet Fest, I have the website linked in the description that you guys can go check out to see what else they have going on for the rest of the month.
I really want
And-
to go next time in person.
Okay,
It's
honestly,
so fun.
I stand BookNet Fest so hard. If you guys can, you should definitely go.
Laura lives so close to it. I should just be like, Laura, I'll come visit you, and then we can drive in.
Let's say, is it in the same place every year? when
always
it's
in Orlando,
okay.
Florida, and yeah, it's just so much fun because it's like you just sit there and you talk with your friends and you meet more people and you go
And
to
there's a
panels
pool.
and there's a pool and
Alright.
then you
Well,
can
if
go to
it's-
Disney.
If it's going next year, I'm going to be there. And Devasia, I will drive down. I'll pick you up on the way.
I could probably even drag Damien because then we could just like go to Disney World afterward.
Kevin, we could also go to the doll place in Georgia.
Oh, we have the Cabbage Patch hospital.
Yes. Where Cabbage Patch dolls are born. We could go there.
But I really would like to go to BookNet Fest in person. I was so jealous. I remember watching Lizelle, and I think Lindsay, you did a vlog too, right?
Yeah.
You guys did vlogs, and I was just like, I wish I was there.
It was a good time. I've been twice. So. That's how Lainey and I became close friends. I basically invaded her friend group and was like, we're friends now.
The thing is that it's like I love thoughts on tomes, and I feel like I would be like hi, and I'd be like so like uncomfortable. Be like,
No, Sam's awesome.
no, I
And
mean,
that's the thing, like you meet people in person and you're like, you're real, and then like you chill.
I get really weird around like people. I don't know.
I like loved her. She was one of the first booktubers I ever watched when I got into booktube, and then I met her and I was like, can I give you a hug? She was like, yeah, and I was like, it's so sad. And Mari's great too. Like, I mean, she's incredible and
Yeah.
so well spoken.
I just feel like I'd be
Mari's
starved.
ridiculously smart, which is
Yeah.
one of the reasons I subbed to her YouTube channel. Like I forget which video it is I found first, but of course it was one of the snarky 1-star reviews of a popular young adult fiction book, and I just watched it. I was like, this is so smart, and I was like, I love it.
And if people watching don't know, Marina is from My Name is Marina's and Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. They're the organizers of BookNet Fest. They've been doing it now for 3 years. So
They're brilliant.
4 years, I guess, if you count this year. Okay, well, sadly, bye, I guess. I don't know how to end this. I feel like it's an awkward transition.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.